Welcome back. The Judicial Service Commission is recommending Supreme Court of Appeal President Mandisa for the position of Deputy Chief Justice at the Constitutional Court. The position became vacant when Justice Raymond Zondo took the helm at the Apex Court earlier this year. The JSC earlier interviewed Maya for the position. A pioneer in the legal field, she was one of the first women judges in the Eastern Cape High Court. She was also the first black woman in the Supreme Court of Appeal and the first woman deputy president of that court, and later its president. Well, for more, we're joined by Judges Matter researcher Zikhona Ndlebe. Great to have you with us, Zikhona. Justice Maya's competence, I think, has always been on display. Would you say this was a shoo-in? She's relatively uncontroversial as the deputy, widely supported.
You're absolutely correct. Her appointment has always been uncontroversial because, of course, she has extensive experience. She is the president of the Supreme Court of Appeal. She's got the proven track record to head up a court. She has ensured collegiality in that court. She's also ensured that there's transformation. And these are things that she highlighted during her interview in February when she was being interviewed for the position of Chief Justice. So I think perhaps it would be correct to say that her foot is in, but then again, the sole prerogative on her appointment as the Deputy Chief Justice rests on the President. The final say, there's no final say yet. The JSC has conducted the interview. It has said that she is suitable for appointment as the DCJ of the country, and now the rest is in the President's court. Obviously, the President has to consult the National Assembly, political parties that are represented in the National Assembly, and then make the final call whether he appoints her as the permanent Deputy Chief Justice of the country.
Yeah, but surely the President is unlikely to shake things up. I mean, last time she was recommended and he still chose Justice Zondo, but in her case, surely it's just going to be a yes, a nod.
It's absolutely unlikely that the President will not appoint her in the position of DCJ, especially provided that he's the one who nominated her, who said that he would want her to become the next Deputy Chief Justice. But then again, we don't know what might happen from now up until the President makes the final appointment. So we cannot rule out the possibility that the President might not. That is obviously provided that something happens during the period from now up until the appointment of, or the final decision to be made by the President, because again, the President has to consult the political parties that are represented in the National Assembly and then make that final decision with the views of the political parties in the National Assembly.
Yeah. She's the only one to go through two interview processes for the Chief Justice and Deputy. Last time, there were very vocal candidates such as Julius Malema supporting her as the female candidate. Some people said she didn't get the same grilling as some of the men. What do you think about that? And did you notice a different line of questioning, a different tone today?
I think the controversy that was created by the interviews in February was the fact that she was not the only candidate, and we had the current Chief Justice Raymond Zondo as the candidate. We had Justice Madlanga and we had Justice Mlambo. And in all those other three interviews, there were certain concerns that were raised. For example, in Justice Mlambo's interview, there was the sexual harassment concern that was raised. It was obviously hearsay issues that were raised during the interview. And Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's interview, the State Capture Commission came up a lot. And those are some of the issues that caused controversy in the previous interview. And Justice Mandisa, there were no such controversies during her interview. And that is because perhaps she has the proven track record and there is nothing really to say except that she does have the proven track record. She has written a judgment in its crossa, which is something that has not been done before by any of the justices in our judiciary. So in February, there was nothing that came out and that was of concern. So with this interview, it was also quite smooth And that was to be expected because she'd been interviewed in February already. So this interview, not that it was not necessary, it was a necessary interview to take place, but the JSC had all the information that it needed because it had interviewed her just a few months ago. So the interview was very dignified, which is something that we expect from the JSC when conducting all interviews. So that is something that we are actually satisfied with when we look at the JSC and how it conducted itself, and also when we look at the chairing of the interview itself, which was good.
You mentioned that she wrote a judgment in isiXhosa, and she seems to be a candidate that values diversity. She wants more judgments in more languages. She didn't shy away as a woman from the gender issue, saying yes, there's a lack of gender parity, also a lack of transformation. Would you say she's very outspoken? I guess the question is, how much scope will she have to change things?
She's absolutely very passionate about transformation and gender diversity in general. And she is a member of the IAWJ, so that is to be expected. She's expressed herself with regards to gender diversity fully during both her interviews, February, and the interview that took place today. And we are hoping that, well, if you look at the SCA firstly, before I say that, we're hoping that we'll see a lot more transformation happening if or when she is appointed as the Deputy Chief Justice. But let's first look at the SCA. She had undertaken to ensure that there's transformation in the SCA. And currently, out of the 23 justices that sit in the SCA, 11 are women justices. And that is something that has happened under her watch and under her leadership. So she's passionate about gender diversity, and she has proven that her passion and her commitment to gender diversity is something that can be expected that transformation, gender diversity can take place when she is in the leadership position.
All right, we'll follow this, and of course the final nod is still awaited from the President. That was Judges Matter researcher Zikhona Ndlebe.